Hello everyone, this is your guy Rajat from Rain Studios. So, I am going to continue my series on web application architecture, and in this video we are going to learn about the use of proxies and the role they play in web application architecture. So let's get started. Okay, so in this video we are going to learn what are proxy, what is reverse proxy, and how reverse proxy plays an important role in your application. So most of you guys must be aware of proxy servers that we get to see in our computer science labs and all. Like you know that access to certain sites are restricted on our premises, like school premises or office premises, right? But you can use these proxy servers to connect to the restricted website, right? So let's suppose you want to access this example.com website, but that website is being blocked by your firewall. In that particular case, you can forward your request to access example.com to this particular proxy server, and this proxy server is going to request the content of www.example.com from the origin server. Then this origin server is going to return the data to the proxy server, and this proxy server is going to return the data back to the user, that is you, right? So in that case, you get the data which you wanted to see. This is also known as forward proxy. But we are not concerned about this sort of proxy. Let's suppose you have created a chat messenger. So you need a mechanism to store the chat messages and a way to recognize who is online and who is offline. To do that, you have developed two servers. First one is the chat server, which is going to store all of the messages which are being exchanged between the users, and you have created yet another server which actually monitors the presence of users in real time, right? Suppose you want your application to work in this particular way, where if a chat message is coming, it should also go to yourapp.com, and if the request to manage a presence of a user is coming, it should also go to yourapp.com. So yourapp.com is responsible for managing the presence of the user and also the data that is being exchanged on the application, right? So this particular server is housing two different sort of functionality which is being served by two different kind of server, but still you want your servers to reside on yourapp.com only. You don't want to create two different servers with two different IPs to manage two part of the functionality of a single application. The problem is that there are two servers and you have only one box that is going to contain your server, right? So how can you host two servers and your application can request data from both of these servers or submit data to both of these servers which is having this one particular same name? How will your application know whether it has to submit data to the presence server or to the chat server? You need some sort of mechanism to forward the appropriate data to the appropriate server so it can appropriately handle that thing, right? In this particular case, reverse proxy comes into play. Now, what you are actually going to do, the proxy is going to sit in front of both of these servers. So you are going to forward your request to your yourapp.com server in a normal way. Then it will be the responsibility of the proxy server to route the request to the appropriate server. Suppose you have submitted a chat message, so the proxy server will get your chat message and then it will decide that whether it should forward that particular request to the chat server or the presence monitor server. Now there are mechanisms like ACL, which are access control list, and other sort of mechanism using which you can decide like which server should get the request, and upon getting the request, the normal flow of the data and data processing will happen as we have talked in my previous videos, and then the data is going to be returned to the proxy server, and this proxy server is going to return the output back to the user. So the proxy server is going to sit in front of all of the servers, right? So that is how your application can use the single domain and still access various sort of server from that single domain, right? So it is one such use of these proxy servers. Now we have talked about that there are mechanisms. There are two prominent mechanisms which I have seen being used in these sort of scenarios. Like suppose your presence server is a WebSocket server because you want to deal with the real-time data, and this chat server is a basic HTTP based web server, right? So you can program your reverse proxy to segregate the request based on the type of protocol, right? So it can look for the protocol, and if the protocol is HTTP, right, then it can forward that request to the chat server. And in case if the request is a WebSocket protocol based request, then it can forward that request to the presence server. So this is one such way, and it is known as protocol based because we are using the underlying protocol to determine where to write our request, right? And the other one is the subdomain based, right? Suppose we can request normal web server based data or normal chat messages from http yourapp.com. In case we want to submit the data to the presence server, we can forward the request to chat.yourapp.com. So in that case, the proxy is going to look for the subdomain information, and then accordingly it is going to forward your request to the appropriate server. So it is known as subdomain based method, right, of routing traffic. So these are two prominent ways. Now you must be wondering like, okay, we have learnt about what reverse proxy is, but how can I actually configure that reverse proxy and what software should I use? Now there are three prominent choices for reverse proxy. First one is the HA proxy. This is a industry leading reverse proxy, and I have used this HA proxy in two of my projects. One is Pollen Chat, the other one is Kimia. The other prominent option is Nginx, and it is also a web server. And the third one is the Apache. You must be having some sort of idea about Apache because everybody knows about Apache. So Nginx and Apache are also web servers, but they have the capability to act as a reverse proxy. HA proxy also have the capability of load balancing, right? So this proxy server can also act as a load balancer. And in case you don't have any idea about what load balancing is, I would request you to check out my yet another video, which is a prequel to this particular video, right? So now you know like how can you host multiple servers on one box, and then you can route request appropriately to the concerned server and get the data back to your application. So with that, this is your guy Rajat Saxena signing off. And in case you are interested in learning more about computer science and web development and mobile development, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Thank you all. Bye-bye.